Kevin Harvick locked himself into the championship round of 4 with the win in Martinsville. Gary Owens spun out early in stage 3, setting him back, but he rebounded to a 6th place finish. He's above the cut line, looking to make the Final Four in his rookie season. He'll need a good finish in Texas, not wanting to go into Phoenix on the outside looking in.
Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we have a quick recap of Hailie Deegan's efforts in Texas as well as my cup race in Texas, and you see the playoff grid here quickly. We will go over it one more time before we go into the race, but now as we get ready to go into Hailie Deegan's race, she is locked into the Final Four already, so she has absolutely nothing to worry about coming into Texas or going into ISM Raceway in the next episode, so she's just really trying to make it through this race and the next race with no issues at all. And she started P8, so certainly not a great starting position, but pretty much average like she's been doing for pretty much the last half of this season. So we weren't really too concerned, but she actually didn't really work her way towards the front of the pack like we expected her to. Now we come to the midpoint of this race. She only gained really one spot, battling to gain one spot. She hasn't gained anything yet as she battles alongside the 0-2 of Austin Hill, who will be replacing Brett Moffitt next season in the 16 truck in real life at least. But now as we come to the last lap in this race, pretty much the same situation. She still battles for P7, but as she comes through turns 3 and 4, she does get the edge over Austin Hill as she comes out of the last corner, and it looks like she might hold him off as they come across the line. She does get P7 in Texas, so certainly not a great finishing position for her, but Stuart Friesen gets the victory, and I don't think he's in the playoffs, so that doesn't matter. But now she really just needs to continue to do what she's doing, and we need to prepare the truck the best we can for Homestead, Miami, to make sure we give her a fighting chance to win this championship, as she really does have a strong chance to win it, I think. And next season, she might be moving to Xfinity if we advance our team just a little bit further, so we'll see if we do that or not. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to invest into making an Xfinity team just yet, but we'll see at the end of the season how it goes. But now, as we get ready to shift our focus towards my Cup race, we'll check the point standings real quick, though, for the Truck Series. There is the Cup standings, but here's the Truck. So Grant Enfinger and Brett Moffitt on the outside looking in, going into Phoenix, and John Hunter and Johnny Sauter, they're pretty much locked in on points, and now we have really deserving of it too, obviously, as he has dominated this whole. We made it to the third and final session, so a very solid effort from myself to start this weekend as we come through turns 3 and 4 to come through to complete our lap on the exit of 4. It's going to be a half-decent lap as we come across the line. We're going to hit a 29.134, and we are going to be starting in P9 for Texas. So not a great starting position, but certainly.
Today, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series thunders back to Texas at Texas Motor Speedway for the running of the AAA Texas 500. They say everything's bigger in Texas. For our remaining playoff contenders, that saying holds especially true as the stakes today don't get any bigger. In 2017, Kevin Harvick punched his ticket to the championship race by way of a thrilling victory here in the Lone Star State. Who will master this 1.5-mile asphalt speedway today? The green flag is in the air, so let's go racing on PRN.
All right, we are ready to get going in Texas. Kyle Busch starts on the pole. He's currently on the outside looking in coming into this race, so maybe he could pull something off, and that's the only thing that's really brought up in this event. No one sent to the back, so we haven't had any playoff drivers sent to the back recently, which is a surprise as the green flag drops, and we are underway in Texas, the second race of the round of 8, the second final race of the round of 8 as well, as we get ready to decide a chance at who's going to make the championship 4. Will another driver lock himself in today? We're about to find out as Kyle Busch leads us through turns 1 and 2 on the exit of turn 2, just ahead of another playoff contender, Martin Truex Jr., as well as Brad Keselowski, as we come down the back straightaway alongside the 41 of Kurt Busch into turns 3. clearing him to get up to P8 after starting P9. So we gained 1 position within the first lap as we approach the back bumper of Joey Logano now in the 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford as we cross the line to complete lap 1 in this race. Really just need to keep the car clean and really have a solid finish. I don't even think, if we finish where we are right now, that's probably not going to cut it. So we clearly need to be doing better as we approach the back bumper. The 14, a little bit of a checkup, so I had to get out of the throttle and actually did hit the 14 in the back bumper, but nothing really happened to our car, thankfully. Now is Kyle Busch early on driving away from the field, so he's already looking like the car to beat in this race. And like I said, he's on the outside looking in, so if he wins this race, that's not a good thing because he shouldn't even be in the Final Four right now, points-wise, so that's not good for us as we go 3 wide ahead. Harvick, Hamlin, and Keselowski, all 3 wide as the 2 backs out of the situation. Now is Logano, he's going to take advantage and force it under Hamlin. 3 and 4 alongside the 11 now on the exit of 4, closing in towards the inside of the 78 now as we come across the line, making contact with Hamlin, and down in the infield we go with a huge save through the grass, coming back on the track just in front of traffic. Blaney just barely avoids me, and that might have been the save that could save our playoffs because I should not have held on to that car, but we just went straight through the infield and thankfully managed to hang on to the car. As we come to lap 11 now in stage 1, we gained 1 more spot after that issue right behind Denny Hamlin, and I wasn't mad at him because that was 100% my fault at the time. I was certainly a little aggravated that it happened, and yeah, we went up the track and completely hit the 11, and unfortunately it did not end well for me, but really I guess it kind of did end well, as we should have been. We're probably wrecking the car and in a huge kind of bad spot in the playoffs now because we probably weren't going to get points in stage 1, but now we are sitting P7 thankfully, as now we have just over 8 laps to go in this race, just trying to maintain track position because we are very fortunate to be in this position now, as we have a pretty solid gap between myself and Jimmy Johnson for P8 as we come to lap 14 now in stage 1, running behind Denny Hamlin and the 2 of Brad Keselowski, and up ahead is the 14 of Clint Boyer as we come out of turn 4, and we get a caution, our first caution of the race. And now Kyle Busch continues to lead, Joey Logano up in 3rd, and we got some drivers up there that I don't like to see up there because the drivers way up ahead of us are drivers that are behind me in the points. So this isn't good for me as we get ready to go green. The green flag is back out. It's going to be a 3-lap dash at the end of stage 1. Who is going to win the stage? Likely going to be Kyle Busch, as he has dominated the early portions of this race now as we're all over the back bumper of Keselowski going into turns 1. Hopefully we'll be able to gain a few extra positions out of it here on this restart as we come alongside Denny Hamlin, making a little bit of contact. We're going to side draft him down the back straightaway just to try and keep him close as we go into turns 3 and 4. Kyle Busch is clear for the lead. Logano trying to move through to 2nd ahead of Harvick. Now Denny Hamlin, he's going to hang on my right rear this time. Kind of going to side draft myself as we came through turns 4. Crossing the line, 2 laps to go in stage 1 now is Kyle Busch. He's pulling away from the field already as we approach the back bumper of Clint Boyer, as he is going to drift up the track a little bit, allowing me to get all over his back bumper down the back straightaway as we pass under the big flat screen TV as we go into turns 3, touching the apron and moving me up the track. Thankfully we didn't spin the car, but we certainly had to push the car up the track so I would not get loose or sideways or crash the car. So now as we come across the line to take the white flag in stage 1, Kyle Busch is in command now as we come into turns 1 and 2, trying to catch Boyer once again. We easily get alongside him as he goes way up the track, not really trying to defend the position as we come out of turn 2. Down the back straightaway for the final time in stage 1, though he has the momentum down the straightaway as we go into turns 3, and he's going to kind of be a little defensive, but he leaves the lane open, but I'm not able to take advantage of it as we come out of turns 4. Kyle Busch is going to win stage 1. Boyer's going to get 5th, and we will get P6 in the stage to start this first stage of this race, as Jimmy Johnson gets 10th to get the last stage point available, as Martin Truex Jr., a playoff driver, misses out on stage points, so that could be a factor for him in making this final 4, as we take 4 tires and 2 cans of fuel for this pit stop, and it should help us out. But everyone did what we did except some of the back runners. A bunch of cars stayed out, just like we saw in the spring race in Texas, as the green flag drops and we are underway in stage 2. We got some ground to make up now. Kevin Harvick in front of me in the 4. He's obviously locked in already into the Final 4, so we really don't care about him. We can rough him up if we need to try and make this Final 4 if we're in that type of scenario. Now as we exit turn 2, sideways, just about hitting the 2 car down the back straightaway, passing under the big TV, going into turns 3. Now getting hit by the 11 in the right rear, and around we go into the traffic. A whole pack of cars getting hit. Jimmy Johnson involved in the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. as it is turned into a complete disaster as Denny Hamlin completely turned me around going into turn 3. And the first incident with him was my fault. This time around, not my fault, as we are going to have to repair the cars. Now I'm going to show you guys an onboard camera. As we went into turn 3, I never changed my line. I went to the bottom and completely got hit in the right rear by him, and around we went, unfortunately, and that's going to really put me in a hole now as we are well outside the top 10. Obviously, we started the stage outside the top 10. We were likely going to push our way forwards with the rest of the front runners, but now sitting P39 with 15 laps to go to restart this race. So certainly a bad situation for myself as Denny Hamlin completely took us out. I don't know if maybe he was mad about what we did earlier to the race with him, but either way, it's not good for us. And this might be the incident that really sets us back in making this Final 4 as we come out of turn 2 with a huge run on the traffic. Jimmy Johnson, he's got his car completely destroyed as he basically had nowhere to go. He was a part of that wreck as well as we fall in line right behind him, coming through turns 3 and 4, just going to follow the inside line, try to make it 3 and 4 wide at times to gain as many spots as we can, because we need stage points if we want to make this next round to compete for a championship in Homestead, Miami. Now as we come into turns 1 alongside the 12 of Blaney, hitting the back bumper of Johnson, no big deal as we get maybe just a little bit of aero damage, but either way as we come out of turn 2 side by side, trying to side draft the 48 now, making a little bit of contact on his left rear as we come into turn 3, but no big deal as we are slowly propelling our way forwards behind the 78 of Truex alongside the 41 of Kurt Busch. So fortunately we do have some playoff contenders back here still with me, so it's not the end of the world, but certainly still going to be a big setback now as we just continue to ride the bottom line. And up ahead I do see Denny Hamlin, and we're certainly not happy with him at the moment as he just, like I said, he just took me out, and I don't know why he did it. But now as we come down the back straightaway alongside the 78 of Truex, I believe Kurt Busch is on his outside as we go into turn 3, looking at the inside of our teammate McMurray, and Truex is going to continue to make it 3 wide. But we're just going to continue to run that bottom line, and it works as we now come alongside the driver that just took us out a couple laps ago, Denny Hamlin. And I could maybe get some revenge on him, but it's really not worth it right now. I need to set my focus on trying to get ahead. Obviously, I'm not going to let off of him. I'm going to certainly let him know that I'm not happy by getting into his back bumper, pushing him down the straightaway. Now as we head into turns 3, going to stay in line behind him, though, as now we are passing just about Kevin Harvick, who actually does get in front of me, though. Now as we have a chance to look to his inside, getting into his back bumper, he's already locked into the Final 4, so it doesn't really matter if we get past him or not. But as we come to lap 16 of 19, getting onto the apron and sideways, a bit of a moment there with DJ Kennington, but we did get into the top 20, losing a few positions now as Denny Hamlin passes us as we sit P16 with 4 laps to go in stage 2, and I'm desperate trying to get stage points before the stage is over, and we are within reach of being able to get stage points. It's just up to me to make it happen as we come through on the inside to pass Casey Kane and the 23 of Gray Galding now across the line. 3 laps to go in stage 2, all over the back bumper of Denny Hamlin, sitting P14, and we are really trying to get up to that 10th position as we need stage points as we come down the back straightaway. A little bit of a gap between myself and Hamlin, but now as we come towards the white flag in stage 2, we're all over the back bumper of the 9 and the 78 of Elliott and Truex, in a position maybe to get stage points if we play our cards right as we make it 3 wide with the 9 and 78 going into turns 1. Stuck behind the 55 of Sorensen. I move up the track, a desperate move trying to get to his outside as we look to his inside and hit his bumper instead down the back straightaway, looking to make it 3 wide with him now. Ty Dillon holds the last stage point. Now as we come into turn 3, going to make a desperate move, pushing up the track to get to his outside. Chase Elliott gets kind of shoved out of the way as we come out of turn 4. He's going to hang on my outside, though. As we come through the tri-oval, we hit Elliott. Now into the wall we go across the line. And we're going to get P11 in stage 2. I was way too desperate there trying to get stage points, and unfortunately I ended up making way too much contact with the 9 and into the wall we went. So now we're going to be once again set back, this time 100% my fault. We are making mistakes that we can't be making, and it was really just out of frustration of the situation that we are in now as we get ready to start stage 3. The green flag is out. On the fortunate side, we got plenty of time to work our way forwards in this race as we have 39 laps to go, so a pretty lengthy final stage, and that's exactly what we need right now as we look towards at least the top 10 we need. Now, as we know, we're probably in this situation that we're in right now, we're likely going to be on the outside looking in, going into Phoenix, and that's not a track that I want to have to be in that situation because I really struggle at Phoenix. Hopefully we can make something happen there, but now as we come through turns 3 and 4, anything can still happen in this race, so who knows what the point situation will be now as we come through to complete the first lap of the final stage behind our teammate Jamie McMurray alongside the 41 of Kurt Busch, who is also a playoff contender, who has had a very tough day so far for himself, not looking good going into Phoenix for Kurt Busch now as we try to make it 3 wide with our teammate McMurray. I'm not wasting any time. He might be a teammate, but there's been a few moments in the playoffs where he's kind of raced me a little rough or maybe a little unsportsmanlike at times as he's a teammate not even in the playoffs, but we do get ahead of him. Now passing the 24 of William Byron, looking to the inside of Danica Patrick. We still have a lot of slow cars towards the midfield of this race, so hopefully we can get by them easily. So really there's a lot of free spots to gain now as we look to the inside of fellow Canadian DJ Kennington as we come out of turn 2 down the back straightaway, closing in on a top 20 position already. So really we are rebounding quite nicely, and if we continue at this rate we still might actually be able to pull off a top 10 as Jimmy Johnson gets forced out of a 3 wide on the outside there. So unfortunate for him as we come across the line behind Austin Dillon, just trying to slowly work our way forwards cleanly without making any mistakes, because if we make a mistake at this point, our playoffs are pretty much over with. And as we exit turn 2, now looking at the inside of the 95 of Casey Kane, I believe Suarez is on his outside 3 wide as we go into turn 3 behind the 88 of Alex Bowman, as we're easily going to get to the inside of him as he's not even going to challenge me. Now as we come into turn 4, we were able to get past him and Sorensen as we would end up getting a caution in I think lap 62 in this race as we had worked our way up to P10. Kyle Busch still leads, and we could play a big strategy call and stay out, but no, we're not going to do that. We're not stupid. We're going to take right side tires, 2 cans of fuel to make sure we safely make it. We ended up losing 3 positions on pit road, so certainly not what we need, but we're going to be restarting on the inside, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. As green flag is back out, it's going to be 19 to go as we cross the line, and I see my mirror car smoking, so I immediately knew that that must have been the caution, or the reason for the caution now is it's going to be 19 laps to the end of this race. Kyle Busch leads, and he is setting himself up very nicely to get a win here to lock himself into the final 4. Hopefully that doesn't happen, as obviously we don't need him winning because he's already on the outside looking in as we come down the back straightaway side by side with Austin Dillon. He side drafted me a little bit down the back straightaway outside of turn 2, and he was able to get alongside me, but as we went into turn 3 we were able to clear him as we come across the line to complete the first lap since the restart, sitting P12 behind the 88 and the 14. A battle alongside, we make it 3 wide to the inside, almost hitting Bowman in the back bumper, but we just barely avoided him. Certainly not a very good turns 1 and 2 for myself though as we come out of the corner side by side with the 88. Obviously I'm going to side draft him a little bit down the straightaway as he actually turns left into my door just a little bit, but we do get up to P10 now behind Ross Chastain in the 15 car, who's really surprisingly up here. I think he had a pretty solid race a couple races back in Kansas or something, so he's all of a sudden found some speed in his car as we sit just ahead of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson in the Lowe's 48 Chevrolet as we come through turns 1 and 2. Closing in towards the end of this race, and we need to try and work our way forwards even more now as we come to lap 74 in this race. Now hitting lap 75 to hit 10 to go. We still sit P10. Jimmy Johnson got past me now as we look towards the back of Joey Logano, but we have a fast Ryan Blaney and Clint Boyer sitting right on my back bumper, and we were really falling off the pace at this point in the race, so I was really just hoping that we continue to stay green just so I can get to the end. We're probably going to lose a few spots here and there to Boyer and Blaney, but they battle side by side in my mirror now as Boyer, he's going to move up to P11, and he seems to be clearly faster than the 12 of Blaney, so he probably won't have a very hard time getting past me. And as we come to lap 77, he was able to get right on my left rear as I had a pretty bad turns 1 and 2, and that allows Boyer to get past me as we come out of turn 2 down the back straightaway. I'm trying to battle him because he's obviously a playoff driver, but I just just could not hang with him as we come through turns 3 and 4, all over his back bumper. Unfortunately, as you see, he's just going to drive away from me as I can't do anything now as we come to a few laps later on lap 78. Boyer continues to stretch the gap, and now we get a caution again, and it's going to be just with 7 laps to go, and this is going to make it a shootout just like we've had in multiple races in this playoffs now, as it's going to be probably 4-ish to 5 laps as we get ready to go green for possibly the final time in this race. Behind the 22 of Logano, the green flag is out alongside the 12 of Blaney, right on the bumper of the 22 of Joey Logano. Across the line, it's actually 3 laps to go in this race, and immediately I look to the inside, making it 3 wide because we need the points now as we have had a rough race. Now looking to the inside of the 48 of Johnson, making the 3 wide as we get loose on the bottom. That's certainly going to kill my momentum that I had through turns 1 and 2. Now 3 wide with the 22 and the 14 of Logano and Boyer as we go into turns 3, trying to gain the positions that we need now as Boyer is going to back out of the 3 wide. Logano will easily clear me out of turn 4 down the front straightaway as we come alongside the 14 side by side as we cross the line, hitting 2 laps to go in this race. Certainly pushing up the track a little bit here through the center of turns 1 and 2. Boyer out of turn 2 is going to have the momentum down the straightaway to clear me as we head into turn 3, as we fall back to P11 just like we were when the caution came out, as we send it to his inside, trying to at least get a top 10 so we can get an extra point out of it. Any point could be big now at this point in the season as we cross the line to take the white flag, looking like Boyer might have the position over me as we come through turns 1 and 2. Once again, trying to send it in pretty deep, trying to gain the position, but we just can't quite get it now as we come out of turn 2, down the back straightaway for the final time in this race, trying to get P10 from Boyer. We're going to send it in one last time into turn 3, sending it in pretty deep, deeper than I have this whole race, and we do come alongside the 14 as we come through turns 3 and 4. On the exit of turn 4, Kyle Busch will win and lock himself into the final 4, and Clint Boyer will hold me off to get P10 for himself, and we will finish P11. Unfortunately, here in Texas, a really rough race, and we had a good stage 1, and it was looking very positive for us, and Denny Hamlin completely turned our race around and just probably has put us in a tough position, to be honest, as we're about to see the playoff standings after Texas. We know Kyle Busch and Harvick, are locked in to the final 4, and there's the point standings. Kyle Busch should be 2 points out, but he's no longer out. He is locked in. Truex is in. Logano is in, and we are the first driver out. Boyer, Keselowski, and Kurt Busch pretty much have to win going into ISM Raceway. We sit 4 points out, the only driver realistically that could point their way in now, and that's not a good thing because we suck at ISM Raceway, if I'm being completely honest, so we're going to have to pull something off. We're going to have to work on the car quite a bit, and maybe we can get a victory somehow there, because that's really how I'm looking at it, is we might be in a must-win situation because we're probably going to have a really bad first and second stage. So hopefully we can pull something off, but it's unlikely.
Look, you got to straighten up out there. You're all over the place. You're starting to make people mad. If you don't calm down, somebody's going to put you on the wall.
All right, Ray, thank you for the wise words. I mean, Denny Hamlin took me out. I wasn't the one that did anything wrong there. Maybe the situation with Elliott at the end of stage 2 where I was desperate, I understand, but certainly some words of wisdom, I guess, were making people angry, and it's about time that Ray Evernham speaks up about it, I guess. But next episode, we will have Hailie Deegan's recap for ISM Raceway, as well as my race in ISM Raceway, where we are going to have to do anything possible to make it into the Final 4. There you see our rivalries. Elliott, Hamlin, and Johnson are very upset now. Hamlin shouldn't be. He's just salty, I guess. But that'll do it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated, more than you guys know. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch one of my videos, and I will see you guys in the next episode in ISM Raceway. Have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time.